Kittur Chennamma. Kittur Chennamma was the Indian queen of Kittur, a princely state in present day Karnataka. She led an armed rebellion against the British East India Company in 1824 in defiance of doctrine of lapse in an attempt to maintain Indian control over the region, but was defeated and died imprisoned. One of the first female rulers to be rebel against British rule, she has become a folk hero in Karnataka and symbol of the independence movement in India. Kittur Chennamma was born on 23 October 1778 in Kakati, a small village in present Belagavi district of Karnataka, India. She belonged to the Lingayat community and received training in horse riding, sword fighting, and archery from a young age. She married Raja Malasraja of the Desai family at the age of 15. Chennamma's husband died in 1824, leaving her with a son and a state full of volatility. This was followed by her son's death in 1824. Rani Chennamma was left with the state of Kittur and an uphill task to save it from the British. Following the death of her husband and son, Rani Chennamma adopted Shivalingappa in the year 1824 and made him to the heir to the throne. This irked the East India Company, who ordered Shivalingappa's expulsion on the pretext of the doctrine of lapse introduced by Lord Dalhousie, the Governor General, to annex independent Indian states in 1848. This doctrine was based on the idea that in case the ruler of an independent state died childless, the right of ruling the state reverted or lapsed to the sovereign. The state of Kittur came under the administration of Dharwad Collectorate in charge of St. John Thackeray, of which Mr. Chaplin was the commissioner, both of whom did not recognize the new ruler and resigned and notified Kittur to accept the British regime. Rani Chennamma sent a letter to Mountstuart Elphinstone, Lieutenant Governor of the Bombay Presidency, pleading her cause, but the request was turned down and war broke out. The British tried to confiscate the treasure and jewels of Kittur, valued at around 1.5 million rupees. They attacked with a force of 20,797 men and 437 guns, mainly from the 3rd Troop of Madras Native Horse Artillery. In the first round of war, during October 1824, British forces lost heavily and St. John Thackeray, collector and political agent, was killed in the war. Amata Balappa, a lieutenant of Chennamma, was mainly responsible for his killing and losses to British forces. Two British officers, Sir Walter Elliot and Mr. Stevenson, were also taken as hostages. Rani Chennamma released them with an understanding with Chaplin that the war would be terminated, but Chaplin continued the war with more forces. During the second assault, Sub-Collector of Solapur, Mr. Munro, nephew of Thomas Munro, was killed. Rani Chennamma fought fiercely with the aid of her lieutenant Sangoli Rayana, but was ultimately captured and imprisoned at Belhongal Fort, where she died on 2nd February 1829. Chennamma was also helped by her lieutenant Gurusiddhabba in the war against British. Sangoli Rayana continued the guerrilla war to 1829 in vain until his capture. He wanted to install the adopted boy Shivalingappa as the ruler of Kittur, but Sangoli Rayana was caught and hanged. Shivalingappa was arrested by the British. Chennamma's legacy and first victory was still commemorated in Kittur during the Kittur Utshava held on 22 to 24 October annually. The British East India Company did not take lightly to Chennamma's act and ordered Shivalingappa's exile from the kingdom. This was done under the pretext of the doctrine of lapse, according to which adoptive children of native rulers were not allowed to be named their successor, and if the native rulers did not have children of their own, their kingdom would become a territory of the British Empire. The doctrine of lapse was officially codified between 1848 to 1856 by Lord Dalhousie. Kittur Chennamma, however, defied the British order to expel Shivalingappa from the throne. She sent a letter to the governor of Bombay to plead the cause of Kittur, but Lord Elphinstone turned down Chennamma's request. The state of Kittur came under the administration of Dharwad Collectorate in charge of Mr. Thackeray, and Mr. Chaplin was the commissioner. Both men did not recognize Chennamma as the regent and Shivalingappa as the ruler and apprised Rani Chennamma to surrender her kingdom, but she again defied the British order. This led to the breakout of a war. Commemoration. Kittur Rani Chennamma is still remembered for her valor. Even though she could not win the war against the British, she became an inspiration for India's freedom fighters and a lesson for the British government that Indian rulers will not accept their enforced law without a good fight. During the freedom movement, her brave resistance against the British forces became the theme of several inspirational plays, folk songs, and stories. Rani Chennamma's first victory against the British forces is still honoured annually in October during the Kittur Utshava held in Kittur. A historical drama film called Kittur Chennamma was produced and directed by B.R. Pantulu about the life and the time of Kittur Rani Chennamma. A popular daily Indian Railways train that connects Bangalore and Kolhapur was also named after her as Rani Chennamma's Express. Rani Chennamma's Samadhi or burial place is in Belhongal Taluk and is currently in a poor state due to poor maintenance of the surrounding park area by government agencies. Statue of Kittur Chennamma near Belgaum Town Hall. On 11 September 2007, a statue of Rani Chennamma was unveiled at the Indian Parliament complex by Pratibha Patil, the first women president of India. On the occasion, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Home Minister Sivraj Patel, Lok Sabha Speaker Somnath Chatterjee, BJP leader L.K. Advani, Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy and others were present, marking the importance of the function. The statue was donated by Kittur Rani Chennamma Memorial Committee and sculpted by Vijay Gar.